Let's dive into some magic, shall we? So we've got Vannifar combo here. I'm actually not 100% sure how I feel about this list. So unlike some of the unlike the Vannifar list that I personally had played most recently in this format, this Vannifar list doesn't automatically combo kill people when you have Vannifar in a 1-drop. So Prime Speaker Vannifar in this build is more similar to, this is a way throwback, this might not catch many people, but Vannifar in this build feels more similar to how Birthing Pod acted in the Melira pod decks. Like, it was a tool that found you combo pieces, but it wasn't like in Kiki Pod where when you untapped with Birthing Pod, if you had enough life, they were probably gonna die. So this build is different than the Vannifar decks that I had played, where like Vannifar plus 1-drop meant that you were gonna find both your combo pieces and kill them. So this build is more of a fair Vannifar deck, which feels weird to say because the deck itself has both Saheeli Cat and Cat Kiki-Jiki as combos in it, but the explicit use of Vannifar isn't just to speed combo. This build is trying to grind a little bit. We've got Ice-Fang Coatls, Stoneforge Mystics, Uros, Scavenging Oozes as a way to kind of punch through on the grindy side of things, right? Yeah, so like you can turn Felidar into Kiki. Yeah, I guess you could technically go Corridor Monitor, 1-drop into Corridor, into Renegade Rallier, into Felidar Guardian, Blink Corridor Monitor, Felidar Guardian into Kiki. So yes, like you can go from 1-drop to Kiki-Jiki, but you have to sacrifice along the way. I wouldn't call our deck a fair deck, Dimir Spy, but I would call Vannifar in this deck a fair Vannifar, if that makes sense. So we are almost certainly a combo deck, but the way in which this deck is utilizing Vannifar compared to others is... Oh, that's true. That's true, isn't it? Yeah, I think you're right, actually, Time Lord. So that's a good point. And I'm glad we talked about it, because I definitely missed that. Yeah, you're super right, actually. So yeah, so talking through what happens, you go 1-drop into Corridor, into Renegade, bring this back, into Renegade, into Felidar, Felidar into Kiki, and then Kiki does technically combo with Corridor Monitor, doesn't it? Okay, so maybe I'm just wrong. I think I'm just wrong. Sodded, thanks for the 14 months. Welcome back. Yeah, there's no awkward Scrib Ranger. Sweet. Yeah, so with Corridor Monitor, you just get to like cut a bunch of the awkward cards. All right, I'm into it. I take back what I said. We're a very unfair Vannifar deck. Let's go. I'm glad we talked through that and figured it out for me before we're actually playing games. Jeffette, OG, thank you for 13 months. Welcome back. I appreciate it. I really hope they ban this card. And like, there's not a ban list update for Modern tomorrow, but I wouldn't be sad if they ban this card. I think this card's a stain. I think this card's a little bit... I think this card is marginally less offensive than Gitaxian Probe, but that's like a really low bar. Own is cool. Thanks for 13 months. Yeah, so Vintage, Legacy, and Brawl are getting ban list updates tomorrow. They announced that last week. So Vintage, Legacy, and Brawl will have things banned in them tomorrow. Morning, Cody. Marginally less offensive than Gitaxian Probe is my Marilyn Manson cover band. Oh, don't mind me. Just casting Stoneforge Mystic off of basic forest steam vents. I'll just be over here. So they did not reveal a companion. I think I was going to get Sword of Fire and Ice here. What makes Astrolabe so offensive? It just removes one of... It removes an aspect of the game of Magic for very little cost, basically. Because of how fetch lands work in Modern, the requirement of having snow mana is trivial to non-existent. So this card effectively lets you just play whatever colors you want with very little drawback, in a format that already had very little drawback for playing a lot of colors. If that makes sense. As foretold. Okay, are we getting, I think we're getting Restore Balance, chat. This is a deck actually, it's funny, CCBM is one of my, one of our stream regulars, and they actually just donated for us to play this Restore Balance deck again. It's been very reasonable. Choose 4 cards in your hand. We'll discard the rest. All right, I'm going to pick these and get rid of the Chord of Calling, I think, because we're pretty far off of casting that. Astrolabe should require showman to filter as well. I don't even think that's a real requirement. Like, it makes it marginally less offensive than what it is now, but it's still pretty trivial. Because, like, you have so mana to cast it, just like, means you have to be slightly more careful with how you tap your mana. For people that haven't seen this card before, Restore Balance is literally just balance, but instead of having a casting cost of 2, you generally have to suspend it for 6 turns. But As Foretold gets around this by letting you cast these cards that you normally can't cast, because these technically have a converted mana cost of 0. So the way As Foretold is templated, you can cast them with it right away. I mean, again, just to be abundantly clear and fair, Saban, I assume, much like Channel Fireball, the Red Bull Crew's inability to show both players' hands for much of the tournament is not related to technical capacity or intelligence or lack of a desire to want to. It's more related to the fact that Magic Arena is a largely incomplete product with regards to esports and does not offer spectator features. It was not a requirement of the Red Bull tournament to be able to broadcast your matches to Discord like we do for our Hooglandia Opens. Like, again, the requirements for the tournament that we're doing next weekend guarantee or ensure that we're going to have better production than what these other people are doing. Because, like, these other people, their focus is running a tournament with prizes. Our focus is running a tournament for coverage. Like, we have prizes, but the prizes are secondary. The coverage is primary. And, like, what Channel Fireball and Red Bull are doing, their coverage is definitely their secondary thing. Hey, Dwells, thanks for the quarter of a year. Welcome back. I believe the Red Bull folks were asking people to share their matches on Discord based on reading their thing, but I'm pretty sure it was very far from a firm requirement like it is for the Hooglandia tournament. Like and this is a good reminder for people that are playing this weekend. If you've not played in a Hoaglandia Open before, if you didn't play in the first or second one, you should be validating that your computer and your internet are able to handle going live and sharing your screen in Discord while you play Arena. That is a firm requirement to play in the tournament. People who are asked to broadcast their matches and unable to will be dropped from the event regardless of their current record. Until Wizards gives us a real spectator mode, that's going to be a firm requirement for our event, so we can provide the best coverage we're capable of providing. Hey, I'm glad you're enjoying it, Hamblin. Yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing our run with Sal tonight, or this afternoon, and then trying out the second character as well. Alright, I mean, I guess we're just playing Prime Speaker Vannifar, right? Do I play Prime Speaker? It could be right. What if I just play Saheeli Rai? And then after I play Saheeli Rai, I can plus her. And then next turn, I can Scavenging Ooze plus Saheeli Rai copy bird, evolve the Ooze into a Felidar. I think that's the line. Yeah, Saheeli's much better against balance, is correct. Is a reason to get her played out. Does the restore balance explicitly. Does not impact Planeswalkers. Spell Pierce. Rough. Yep, yeah, it does. And like I said, right? Like our event requirements restrict people's ability to play in the tournament, whereas things like Red Bull and the Channel Fireball events, they just want as many people to be able to play as possible. Whereas like we're limiting ourselves to 256 players for logistical reasons anyways, so we could be more strict on what we want people to be able to do to play in the event and not feel bad about it, really, because we're likely gonna fill regardless. Speaking of, if you're someone that's interested in playing and you're not currently in the event, you should make sure you join the event waitlist. There's a link to that in the subs Discord server. And make sure you're in the Discord server. Because as people drop out, we'll fill spots from the waitlist. Had a number of people realize they had something come up and drop this week. It's not a big deal. Want to try and make sure we have as close to 256 people playing as possible. So, I'm pretty sure this matchup isn't possible for us. We just, like, don't really have meaningful cards in the sideboard here. I, have Knight of Autumn to bring in, and that's it. I just have to, hope to combo them as quickly as possible. I'm interested to see if the fair aspect of this deck ends up feeling reasonable today. My conclusions in the last time we played the Vannifar combo deck was that the fair aspect of it was just dog poop, and I just wanted to combo people with it. Yeah, we kind of lucked out with, we kind of lucked out in terms of, where the Historic Anthology ended up. We could have been slightly less fortunate and, ended up with the Historic Anthology coming out right after our event. The Red Bull rules say that if you're unable to stream your feature match to Discord, they could give you a round loss. Seriously? I missed that part. Well, if that's the case, then they really have no excuse. Where is that at? Okay, I'm gonna pull up their thing now. Players recognize they put in a feature match at any time. Details are listed in the feature match sections. Failure to join will result in a loss for that round. Oh. Well. Okay, I take back what I said then. I just, wow, that's like impressively bad. That's, good lord. That's embarrassing. That is genuinely embarrassing. That, like, if they're pulling people into feature matches and making it a requirement to screen share, that they didn't have both players' hands available. Like, if you don't have any knowledge of OBS and streaming, it's not trivial to do. But if you're someone who's capable of going live on a Twitch stream, what I did logistically to put together coverage was fairly trivial. So, like, the fact that, like, I was cutting them slack because I didn't think they had that as a requirement. But if they were pulling people for feature matches like that, like... Correct, yes, you can hire someone familiar with OBS for much less. They have a $200,000 price pool, right? So, like, for a very minute fraction of that dollar amount, you could definitely hire someone that would tell you how to make this work. So again, German Space Ace, I think you're being unreasonable because while ideally we would have a spectator mode, acting like Wizards of the Coast is sponsoring this event so all of a sudden they can flip a switch and turn on spectator mode, that's definitely not true. That's unrealistic and not a real expectation. It's very abundantly clear that someone making decisions at Wizards of the Coast has not prioritized spectator mode and these tournament features as something they want to devote resources to. Even if they did want to devote resources to them, it's not trivial to just snap your fingers and make them happen. I don't even know that that's true, Sabin. Like, they've done a lot of stuff without it, and if I recall correctly, Hearthstone didn't have it initially to start either. Like, a lot of people who, again, don't know the history, like, they don't know that, like, you know, Hearthstone's a much, much older piece of software than Magic Arena is, like, by a significant amount. Hearthstone isn't considered a good example. All right, which other large card game would you like to consider a good example then? Call. Which other large card game would you like to consider a good example then? Please be specific. Yeah, I agree. I agree with Patch. I think it is like, if you've never read the Glassdoor reviews for Wizards of the Coast, I would heavily encourage you to take a peek at them and just like to peel back the curtain and see what the people that work at Wizards are dealing with. It's a really hard industry, Dwells. It's very, very easy to do everything. It's not even easy. It's very possible to do everything right and still fail in the games industry. Especially with card games, because card games live and die by the player base, right? Because if you don't have other people, you can't actually play them. Alright, let's see if they have a lightning bolt here. They could have Electro. They could have Electro Dominance plus Balance here as well. It's like the smaller game. All right, they're just dead. The smaller game, Mythgard, that we had played a bit of on stream at the end of last year. Like from a software perspective, like they're doing some really great things. They have like a spectator mode. They're working on their in-client tournament mode is currently in testing already for them. But their card pool's kind of shallow, and it's tough to see like can they survive the early stages without constant set releases to get all those features to market, right? I don't actually know, Dwight, that it was fair to say Hex's management was strictly awful. I think Hex had a couple of core issues that were outside of their control a little bit. The first is that Hex got sued by Wizards of the Coast in a lawsuit that was mostly nonsense, but Wizards had more money, so that tied them up in court. And two, Hex kind of hamstrung themselves from the start by committing to things in a Kickstarter that probably weren't realistic. So their management were like stuck making decisions based on a Kickstarter that someone else that they had aimed lofty goals and then were trying to adhere to that just weren't realistic. Hey, Greco, thanks for the 2/3 of the year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I can't keep this, right? Like, Stoneforge Mystic just isn't a card in this matchup. Maybe I'm supposed to keep it just because it has lands. I don't know. I wouldn't fault anyone for mulliganing this. So, it honestly surprises me how many people think they can break into the card game space. Like, as someone who's a card game creator, I get emails pretty constantly, and just like the number of games that like you'll almost certainly like never hear of that like send me emails asking me if I'm interested in covering their stuff is just like unreal. There are so many. Shadow Kid, thank you for the entire year's support. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Welcome back. So I think because I drew the Sword of Feast and Famine, I'm just going to lead on that and try and start hitting them and discarding their hand right away. Okay, I think we just do this, right? We'll grab Stomping Ground and then try and draw a cat. Hard cast Simian Spirit Guide. Yep. Their hand must be real bad. Big agree. What if I copy the Stoneforge Mystic and equip Sword of Feast and Famine to it and attack them? It gets me a Batterskull too. They might bolt my walker, sure. If they have bolt for my walker, Time Lord, they're gonna get to bolt it if I draw the combo piece anyways, because bolt always disrupts our combo. So like I'm not really sure that that's a consideration. What do I want to do here? Scry to start. It's probably just like Beast of Famine, equip. What are my thoughts on Legends of Runeterra? Haven't really played it. Not a huge fan of Riot as a company. So if there's reasonable alternatives to their games, I don't feel a strong incentive to play their stuff. Think we'll ever have Fetch and Historic? I hope not. I think Fabled Passage is a is an ideally balanced fetch land. Yeah. I think Wooded Foothills and Misty Rainforest and stuff like this. I think mana being too good is a bad thing. What about Vista? I don't know. Probably too good. It's better than Fabled Passage. I think Fabled Passage is probably about the power level you want to be at. So yeah, I'm gonna go with too good. I think Fast Lands would be great in Historic. Big agree with that take. Big agrees with that take. Fast Lands and Historic, please. Putting them to 1 here. What is technical debt? Technical debt refers to technical debt refers to issues that your software have because of past decisions that would take you a lot of both time and or money to correct. So you know what's funny here? This is actually lethal because we turn Coatl into Felidar, and then Felidar blinks Saheeli. Yes, Moto has an incredible amount of technical debt. Magic the Gathering Online has an incredible amount of technical debt. Yeah, if we would have gotten Felidar Guardian there, we would have blinked Saheeli and then +1 turn to deal the last point of damage. All right, like I said, that matchup seemed really difficult if their deck's doing what it intends to do, but their deck just didn't do anything. Also, worth pointing out that was another match where our companion just didn't do anything, and we were just like playing an 80-card deck to have an 80-card deck. Seems great. Grab our basic forest here. Think Finks, thanks for the 6 months. I appreciate the half a year. Welcome back. Yeah, Leecher, if they wiped our board, they were going to kill our lands too, so it actually just wasn't going to do anything. So, Ice-Fang is not Death Touch yet. Needs 3 other snow permanents, I believe. Okay. We're just going to 10 here. Opponent playing Luris Burn, obviously. I think the plan here is end step, Ice-Fang, untap, Eldritch Evolution, the Ice-Fang into Night of Autumn. Gain 4. I'm gonna blaze my snake. It's rough. At least it only did 1 damage, I suppose. Glass half full. Okay. Bird. Second Ice-Fang. Is blaze the snake some kind of euphemism? Yeah, you got it. We can't kill them this turn, right? So I play a land. Do I just chord for Night of Autumn? What do we think of that? If I chord for Night of Autumn? Can Viper plus chord for Night? That's not true. I already played a land for the turn. I think I want to just do this now so we don't get, they don't save it with Boros Charm. I don't know, maybe I'm okay with them saving it with Boros Charm. Dead here to Searing Blaze plus a 1-mana spell. Dead to Boros Charm plus a 1-mana spell. Lightning Helix my creature. Deal. Batterskull is on top of my deck. Alright, so that's my only Night of Autumn in my main deck. What if I... Yeah, do we just go get Uro? I think that's the case, right? As like attack with Ice-Fang, play Uro, or Eldritch Evolution into Uro. And then there's actually, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. So I actually could go get, I'm pretty sure there's another basic forest in my deck, right? Yes, I do this, and I can escape Uro this turn too. Ha! Because why wouldn't I be able to escape Uro this turn too? That's illegal. It should be. Nice burn deck. Alright, extra Night of Autumn for sure. This is probably a Path to Exile matchup. Reflector Mage doesn't seem very good. Sword of Feast and Famine doesn't seem very good. Is it crazy to trim Stoneforge, assuming it's just going to die most of the time? Kind of want to do this. Just get 3 paths in here. Do we care about their graveyard? No, I'm not bringing in Remorseful Cleric. I don't know what this Yorion card is, but I'm glad we have this Uro Companion along for the ride, right? Seems very good. Is the Red Bull untapped already over? They were in top 4 when I went live 40 minutes ago. So I guess it theoretically could be done by now. It should be pretty close if not. Because remember, they started at like 3 a.m. my time. Super early. I'm gonna shock this in and hold up this path. Do we get stats to the Red Bull on tap to it? Yeah, they're all up on MTG Melee now. So it's got a ton of data on it. Hey, B-Mick, thanks for 32 months. A long time. I appreciate you keeping me around. Stay safe out there, Slayer. Thanks for the 23 months. They broke it into 2 days, right now. It was a 2-day event. Giving them a land feels a little bit bad, but I think it's right. '20 and 2020, graduated from dental school last week. Today would have been the ceremony. Feels anticlimactic. Stay safe out there. Worst neighbor, welcome back. Boda! It's too bad no one likes you when you're 23. It's dead, Jim. You killed him. I think I just do this and gain 4 back. GAC was 60+% win rate for reference when it was banned. Can you give me a reference on that, Zajad? Because my understanding is we don't actually have access to that information. Did Wizards share that information in their ban list update? Was that something that was shared? Because unless Wizards shared that, we don't actually have access to win rate information. It was from a Grand Prix. Okay. It's also worth noting that Grand Prix probably provide less data on average than like what this event we're playing right now does. Larissa in a bubble. Yep. Land. Oh, that's a little punishing. It's a little punishing. Probably dead. Yeah. Seems very good. Has Ice-Fang nice and early with Death Touch. Has Uro on 3, while only taking 1 damage from a land. Has Prime Speaker on 4. Yeah, that's great. Astrolabe. Do 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 beep 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 do 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 do. If they 420 blaze the Ice-Fang here, it's like not that big of a deal because it means that I'll be able to play Uro without worrying about getting Skullcrack next turn, so that's nice. So we're going to 13. We're basically going to a little bit lower than that. Grab an island here. Head back up to 15. Drop this land into play that doesn't deal damage to us. Huh. I think the Birds of Paradise changes things, and we play this now and go to 14 and play the bird. Hagak had a 56% non-mirror match win rate, the best of all archetypes during that. Okay, yeah, so that's, thank you for looking that up. 56%, which is actually much lower than what Luca had in this tournament, right? Luca, including mirror matches, had a 60% day 1 win rate. All right, hold on. Oh, I need to tweet about this. This is good. That's good. Thank you for digging up that tweet. That's kind of insane. Like, when you really think about it that way, like, yeah, that's... So with mirror matches removed, Hagak had a worse win rate than the Luca deck. And the Luca sample size is larger. Because there's more people playing it in the Red Bull event. I assume we're dead here. Yeah, I retweeted one of Frank Karsten's old tweets. So Frank Karsten from the MC that Hagak was legal at, GAC had a 56% non-mirror match win rate. Not removing mirror matches, because MTG Melee doesn't do that yet. Luca had an over 60% win rate on day one. I'll be right back. I'm going to fill my water bottle up. We still got plenty more matches of Modern here. We'll be back in just a minute. I wonder if we'll see them announce changes coming to Standard tomorrow. Wonder if we'll see them announce changes coming to Standard tomorrow. Because remember, so we wouldn't actually get bans tomorrow, but they would announce bans for the following week tomorrow, is basically how it works. I'm on the play here, right? I keep this. Could maybe get caught with our hand in the cookie jar, but seems potentially very good. I would expect if they were going to ban things in Standard that it would be 3+ bans even. They also announced that there will be a Brawl ban tomorrow, too. But yeah, Vintage Legacy and Brawl are the ban list updates tomorrow. Mr. Silicon, thanks for the 40 months. And again, like, the most wild part to me about all the Jeskai Luca data is that Jeskai Luca is the known best deck in the format, and it still gets better post-board, which really, really highlights how difficult to impossible it is to actually attack the archetype. Like, your known best deck should get worse post-sideboard if it's been around. And it has been around. There just aren't tools in the format to get around it. I'm gonna play this now. They know about it, because I could hit an Astrolabe to cast. Yeah, I think they said Dranith was being banned in Brawl. I think someone said they announced that in advance. Alright, let's keep a hand with lands in it this time, huh? That'll be great. Probably want Path to Exile. Probably want Veil of Summer. Probably want Eldritch Evolution out. I don't think this is a Magus of the Moon matchup. I'm at 84 cards right now. Is it crazy to just, like, cut one of my mana dorks? I feel like it's not. I'm just going to cut Noble Hierarch. Usually you want to do stuff like that to increase your average card quality in matches like this. Just submit 84. Do I want Remorseful Cleric? They are a Luris deck. Also, how do we feel about Reflector Mage versus Knight of Autumn? Knight of Autumn's probably not very good here. Reflector Mage is probably fine. Red Bull Finals is Yorion Pile versus... Or Blue-White Yorion Pile versus just Yorion Pile. Sure. Sounds right. We knew how that story was ending before it started. Anybody who's been paying attention didn't need to see that to know. Hornets Bank. There's a Triome in our deck. Look at that. I'm going to keep, and I'm going to lead on Wooded Foothills so I can Veil a discard spell on one. I mean, if you would have told me that, I would have believed that. Hedgehog, like, there's a ton of magic spikes in the world, and it's like, well, the expected value isn't amazing. No magic expected value is. Birds of Paradise is a good draw. Let's go to Saheeli. Dig for a land here. Yeah, to a degree late. But, like, there's a certain, like, just playing... People that are playing Magic just for, like, the love of the game, there's a lot more convenient ways to play for the love of the game, right? Like, compared to playing ladder matches or even, like, your weekly small tournaments, like, the logistics that go with waiting for a 2,000 player tournament to happen, like, you have to be willing to suffer through those logistics. Because there's something you care about in there, right? Well, yeah, I'm saying, Hedgehog, that, like, that number of people playing in that tournament doesn't imply that all those people like Standard. I think there's plenty of people that will show up and play Standard if there's any amount of prizes attached to it, regardless of how they feel about the format. Feels like we're dead here. Yeah, I guess I should have kept the second path to Exile because they had Aluris in Exile. They're in their companion zone or whatever it's called. I haven't played Modern in a while. What were we dead to? So my opponent had Aluris with Mishra's Bauble, and they had plenty of land. So basically they were going to draw 2 cards per turn, and I had a bunch of spells that I wasn't going to be able to cast anytime soon. So while my opponent wasn't going to kill me probably for, I don't know, half a dozen or more turns, that wasn't a game I was going to be able to win. It's like when your opponent has 5 mana Teferi in play for the third turn in a row and the board is empty. Like, they're not killing you anytime soon, but you can't win anymore. You're solidly in garbage time. So far, this is 2 for 2 on Yorion deck submissions that just feel real clunky and slow. Little Bad, thanks for the 27 months. Welcome back. I would wager that Gabriel Nassif has spent more time in garbage time than any other human being in the history of Magic the Gathering. I think that's probably an accurate descriptor of his life. That man loves to play him a grindy control deck. No, Gabe spent a lot of time on the winning side of garbage time. The types of decks he likes to play tend to spend a lot of time in garbage time. Just gonna grab Sword of Fire and Ice here, so this way if they kill my Stoneforge, I still have something useful to do with it. Batterskull wouldn't do anything for a while. Correct. Driving to different countries in Europe is like driving to different states on the East Coast here. When you make it into the Midwest and then slightly west of the Midwest, things get real far apart in the United States really quickly. We've got huge tracts of land. If Modern was on Arena, do you think you would play it more frequently? Yeah. I think variety is the spice of life. I think the primary reason we don't play a lot of Modern and Pioneer here is because the content's not as popular because it's on Magic Online instead of Magic Arena. That's awkward. The way I sequence my mana, I actually can't cast Saheeli this turn. It's fine. We'll play Noble Hierarch and put this sword into play. France is 4/5 the size of Texas. Texas is pretty large, to be fair, though. Canada's probably even more spread out than the U.S., right? Canada is flipping huge. How much of Canada is populated? I'm pretty sure the population of Canada is much lower than the U.S., right? Or is that just me being arrogant? Does anybody know offhand? What's the population of Canada compared to the U.S.? Someone Google it for me. 1/8, 10 to 15%. Okay. 80% of the population lives on the border of the country. Wild. California outpopulates Canada by itself. Canada's the second largest country after Russia by geographic size. Neat. Neat. They have a lightning bolt here or something, or a fatal push. They must have some way to kill this, right? Really? They could still have fatal push off their Astrolabe. Alright, we take those. Jeff never leaves his house. That's pretty accurate. It was also pretty accurate before the pandemic, though, too. Like, I would leave the house so infrequently pre-pandemic that every time I would leave the house, Declan would ask me if I was going to the gym, because that was the only place I would go. Alright, so they don't have a removal spell here. They're dead to known information. Felidar Guardian, because it can blink a land, only costs 3 mana in a pinch. As shown. Felidar Guardian plus Saheeli Rai makes infinite 1/4s with haste. Felidar Guardian, when it comes into play, blinks the Saheeli. Saheeli comes back, new instance of the same card. Lets you do it again. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Thank you, opponent. I appreciate you. How are we sideboarding? Do I want Veil or Path here? I don't really know what they're doing. Is it crazy to just click submit? It's like played Yorion, Charming Prince, and like other stuff. Yeah, we actually haven't cast Yorion yet, Zajad. This deck felt very similar to Vannifar decks I played before. Bring a knight as insurance. I have a knight in my main deck, Nook. Chat, I'm so excited. We're almost through the standard deck queue. There are 4 standard decks left in the standard queue. We're going to bang out 2 of them today. And then probably 2 of them tomorrow. And then it'll be a historic and arena stream. Historic and a little bit of moto stream. Hand's pretty reasonable against the discard spell. Got 2 mystery cards. Hopefully bans make the format better soon. I am not optimistic that they're going to ban anything in standard. I think if you look at the Red Bull top 8, there were 5 or 6 different decks. And I will bet that we will see some kind of message citing that diversity as meaning the format's okay, regardless of what the win rate of Jeskai Luka is. I mean, to be fair, Razgriz, and this could maybe be the glimmer of hope that I have, is that if they ban things in standard, I actually don't even think they're supposed to ban anything out of the new set. If I was in charge of the ban list, or someone came to me and said, "Hey Jeff, what would you do to adjust standard?" The cards that I would ban, none of them would be out of the new set. I would ban Agent and Teferi, and if you told me I could do whatever I wanted, I'd ban Wilderness Reclamation as well as a just in case. I think Reclamation would be a good safety valve. It would be a good safety valve. Okay, Teferi is printed to keep this in check. We're banning Teferi, ban Rec 2. I propose any unbannings? Nah, probably not. I think the expected value on unbannings is low. Morning, Marty. Nah, there's plenty of people that like Teferi. There's also plenty that don't. There's definitely plenty that do. Guaranteed fourth land. I think with the guaranteed fourth land, I just lead on Scavenging Ooze here. Yeah, Nexus was only banned in Best of One, and I would wager that Nexus was only banned in Best of One because of their Mythic Invitational tournament. I bet if the Mythic Invitational tournament hadn't been a thing, they would have just let Nexus rot in Standard. Would bet sums of money they banned it to save themselves embarrassment of that being a thing at their tournament. $333,300 points. I'm 1/3 of the way to Shillionaire. Beverly Hills. That's where you want to be. Just shilling in Beverly Hills. I like the idea of playable bounce. You know what's playable bounce? Brazen Borrower. Brazen Borrower is a playable bounce spell. Brazen Borrower is quite possibly the most playable bounce spell that's ever been printed. Alright, so this is a lightning bolt, right? So we're not going to block. You want to be able to target your own stuff with Brazen Borrower? Big pass. Big pass. That card would be way too good if it could save your stuff. Like that's like it's one. That's like the one thing that like leaves that card fairly balanced. Is the fact that it's just like at least it can't target your own stuff. Hey, chat. We're gonna use our companion, chat. Holy gosh, our companion had text. That's exciting. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it. I like it. Beep, beep, doo, doo, doo. Do 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 do. Niv Humans Vice Bishop for the standard queue for Luca took over. Is it possible to bump Naya Dino Cyclones at Historic Set? It is 100% possible to do that. I will take 40 points and add them to that one now. Thank you for saving me a standard deck. One on God's Great Earth is Naya Dino Cyclone. Well, you just have to check out the deck queue to see. You'll just have to go see. Now won't you? Now won't you? I'm gonna cast this now in case we find something we wanna cast out other than this other Ice-Fang. We'll just pass here, and then we can combo kill them next turn, potentially. Nah, you're good. You're good, Kane. I swapped it around. Please cast Yorion so I can kill you. Thanks. I appreciate you, opponent. I appreciate you. Thanks for helping me out. I don't think that detail is relevant to discuss, GW. I don't think the theory of answering that question is helpful or relevant. Draw my card before we're done here. So unless they have Slaughter Pact, they are dead here. So again, Saheeli copies Felidar. Felidar blinks Saheeli. Repeat. All right, we're 2-2, chat. Burrito match. See if we can get our fun bucks back or if we're going to spew. Will our Badalaridus return with some extra? Or shall we lose? Come on, we don't want to buy more tickets. Ain't that the truth? Triome looking real awkward here. Hand's definitely a keep, though. We'll fetch Temple Garden, play Noble Hierarch on 1, hope to draw an untapped land. Opponent has Baubles and no Luris. Probably Death Shadow. Probably Urza. No, Metsu. Why would they have to reveal their entire sideboard? I'm curious why you would ask that. Like, what part about Companions makes you think that that would be something that would be Because an MTGO, they reveal their entire sideboard. They do not. The revealed card zone is right here. It only reveals just the companion. So that thing at the start of the game is showing my whole sideboard to me, so I can click on the companion to reveal to my opponent. I understand, though. I'm glad I asked. I can see how the interface would be confusing if you haven't used Moto before. Yeah, on Magic Online, there's these separate revealed card zones here that show which cards have been revealed. So, like, there were... God, the more I think about it, just, like, Modern Horizons really was pretty terrible, huh? Like, there were a lot of things you could complain with in regards to Modern Horizons, but I actually think Mystic Sanctuary and Astrolabe might, like, quietly be the two worst things about the set. Oh, this was Eldraine, isn't it? You're super right. This is Eldraine. See, in my head, this was Modern Horizons because it really doesn't see play in Standard. You're super right. And I basically just didn't play Modern when Eldraine happened. You're right. I apologize, Modern Horizons. I apologize. This one's not your fault. It's still pretty obnoxious, but it's not your fault. Yes, I agree with Barty's list. Things Magic Online does better than Magic Arena. You can view your sideboard during the game. There's an action log, and you can save targets and always yield. Modern Horizons made Elves unplayable, which was like the last deck I really loved playing in Modern, so it made me sad. Actually, with all these fair decks playing Lurrus now, can I play Elves again? Is that deck playable in this format? Because what's his name isn't a thing anymore. Yeah, because Plague Engineer, you can't play Plague Engineer with Lurrus. What's always yield? I'll show you. So when I have a trigger here, it asks me to click OK to resolve my trigger, just like on Magic Arena. But I can right-click on this and hit Always Yield, so it will never ask me to click OK in response to this trigger again. So triggers that happen constantly. You don't have to click OK through them all the time. Oh, you can't see my right-click menu, right? Right, I forgot about that. Oh, Magic Online. I forgot with the setup you can't see my menu. We're just jamming Felidar Guardian, right? That's the plan. I was hoping they don't have Cryptic Command. You could get a foil grazer on Moto. Ain't that the truth? They're bouncing their Pithing Needle. Harsh but fair. Hey, Paula, thank you for the very generous tier 3. I appreciate the 26 months. Welcome back. They shocked in the land there. Wonderful to see them sack the Astrolabe to keep Teferi alive here. I imagine that's the plan. Oh, wow. Path to Exile. That's unfortunate. Revolt, thankfully, is just Leaves play. So their play here lets me Renegade Rallier Misty Rainforest back into play, which is nice. And then if I draw an untapped land next turn, I can actually kill them. Because we'll get to Evolution, Renegade Rallier into Night, kill the Pithing Needle. And then Evolution the Night into a Felidar Guardian. Huh? Hey, the Elk. Thanks for the 16 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Find out the last card to counterspell. I suppose they could also draw with Lantern. Another Cryptic Command, brutal. I really don't love, and this was one of my conclusions last time I played a Chord deck in general in this format, is I really don't love trying to play a fair deck in this as the pod deck without having access to Voice of Resurgence. Like, not having voice in these counterspell matchups makes them much, much harder than they otherwise would be. No, Metsu. And you don't really need to either. Like, so making your subs not see ads is a setting on the partner side. So like I could make subs see ads, but I don't understand why I would want to do that. Ads don't really pay a lot of money anyway, so like inconveniencing the people that like actually pay my bills to like try and farm a few more pennies out of people doesn't make sense. The only reason I run ads in general is because my F2K contract dictates that I do. And my F2K contract is worth enough that it's worth playing ads during downtime. They're putting Cryptic Command on top of their deck. Yep. Why does F2K care? Because F2K has a contract with Twitch. Because some of the money F2K uses to pay me comes from Twitch. Yeah, I think we're dead at this point, because the Cryptic Command Mystic Sanctuary locks me. And then the Thopter Sword just beats me down. Stoneforge just being incredibly underwhelming, like it is in this format, because again, all of the people who told you that Stoneforge Mystic was going to be overbearing, they were idiots and don't understand how to evaluate the power level of Magic cards within the context of the format that they're being played in. Stoneforge Mystic is barely playable in this format. Whenever any non-subs come to the stream to lurk from day to day, I imagine a good number. I'd be pretty surprised if everyone that watches is subbed. I have more subs than average concurrent viewers, but like the number of people that churn in and out throughout the course of the day is really high. I don't think this is a Path to Exile matchup. They're almost certainly an Urza deck. Am I supposed to bring in Path to Exile because of Urza? Thanks for the 31 months, Admiral. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Could see that being a possibility. I don't really know what I want to cut, though. Stoneforge Mystic reminds me of Pack Rat and Historic. You'd think it'd be better based on its history, but it just isn't. Yeah, I agree with you, Marty. This isn't amazing, but I think it's in the range of keepable. I have a suggested movie on Amazon, but it's not playable due to my regen. That just seems like real bad design right there. Grab a forest here. Does anybody remember, by the way, what day did the new set release on Arena? Was it a month ago? What day in April was the set release? Was it the 16th? Anybody can Kibler Google that? What day was it? Yeah, the 16th. Okay. Yeah, 16th was a Thursday. Alright, and I just want the record to reflect that I gave this a fair college try, but when you send me a deck list that's not well built, I'm not going to play through hate cards. If you click through, like, okay, so this is this deck. Let's click on Kiki-Jiki. If you look at the last Kiki-Jiki deck list I played, you will note that there is one Quasali Pride Mage in my Kiki-Jiki sideboard. You will note that there is always one Quasali Pride Mage in my creature toolbox decks. And it always surprises me how many people try to reinvent the wheel when they build decks like this. Like, in fact, actually, the only change I made to this submission before we played it today was the original submission also didn't have a Knight of Autumn in the main deck. And I really feel like you should go back and look at, like, what other people have done. Like, for example, here, notice that there's Quasali Pride Mage. And, like, think about their bullets when you're building theirs. And this is a card I always make sure to play, even in a world where Knight of Autumn is legal, because killing things like Torpor Orb is important. So, yeah. This deck with Yorion and the Snow Package, I'm going to be honest, it really didn't feel better than it did before those cards. The Stoneforge Mystic just continues to feel underwhelming. Not a huge fan of it. Uro was actually quite good and reasonable. I liked that a lot. I think as far as fair grindy cards go in this type of creature toolbox shell, again, looking at my Kiki-Jiki list here, I think Seasoned Pyromancer and Voice of Resurgence are much better grindy tools. And the reason for this is twofold. The primary thing they do is grind. This provides extra bodies. This provides cards and bodies. But more importantly, when you're not grinding, these cards also work well with your combo game plan. Voice makes it harder to interact with your combo with counterspells and removal because you punish people for doing that on your turn. And Seasoned Pyromancer lets you churn through cards in your deck to find your combo pieces faster and more consistently. Whereas Stoneforge Mystic is literally just a 1-2 for 2 that frequently dies and gives you equipment that you're not going to do much with, that doesn't synergize or help your combo at all in any way, shape, or form. So it's this very disjointed extra thing that doesn't feel like it flows well with the rest of the deck. This extra thing isn't individually powerful enough on its own to be good enough for Modern to stand on its own. And on top of that, it doesn't work with the rest of what our deck has going on, so it doesn't feel very reasonable. Could we have beat their face with Ooze and a sword there? No, they're too interactive for that on average. Yeah, just disjointed is an apt descriptor. Yeah. Yeah, like, and this is, again, really shows just how little a lot of people understand about evaluating Magic formats. There were a lot of people, when they talked about unbanning this card and then they unbanned it, they were like, oh, Stoneforge Mystic is going to go in everything with white mana. If your deck doesn't have white mana, you're going to splash for Stoneforge Mystic. And those people really didn't just understand. They didn't understand what Modern's about. That's not what Modern is there for. Sure, yeah, that's a good thought too. There's no Oath of Nissa in here. And actually, we have another Modern deck in the queue that we're gonna get to later this week. That's actually Felidar Guardian with Oath of Nissa and Lucas at the top end, which sounds kind of sweet. This one's playing Season Pyromancer. So we're gonna do this at some point this week, I believe. All right, so at any rate, we're going to roll on into slugging through some standard here, and then some historic as well. I'm going to quick ad roll while I get set up and flipped over to the client. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere. I'm actually looking forward to getting back to Griftlands too.